Hi guys. So, good morning, good afternoon. Let me know if you can hear me. Because right now I can't really see if my microphone is on. Okay, now I have your questions and everything. Okay, good to see you, everybody. So we're gonna start with a question. Since Henry is already online, I'm gonna start with your question. And you were asking how to deal feeling guilty in an argument with a friend. So the question was how to deal with having an argument with a friend. I always feel extremely bad, specifically if something happens and you have offended somebody on accident. And I know this feeling very well because a lot of us have such a good understanding of what is a good connection with other people, how to show up in a way that is kind. We're so in tune with how people think and what they feel, but it is always a choice. It is always a choice. Like some people are able to do this in a long spectrum, but it's still always a choice because the thing that always goes back is that we think about ourselves. And the problem is if you're so accustomed to always being there for others and understanding them, the moment you kind of step back from that and you see that by you just acting from what you feel at this moment, you unintentionally offend somebody. And this is not, you're not alone in this. This is not something only you experience. It's not something I only experience. A lot of people do this. And there's just one main thing we have to focus on here. And that is the fact that we can understand people so well is not it's not like this thing that we have to do it all the time. If other people offend you on accident or if they offend somebody else on accident, we forgive them. There's always this understanding we have towards the others of, okay, they were just like not aware of the situation at that moment, or we're not as strict with them about it, as in, well, they're not perfect and it's okay. And we have to start doing this for ourselves as well. And when it comes to, as I always call it, creating an epic life on your terms, you will have these situations over and over again because the goal in it is that you stop focusing so much on other people and start focusing on yourself. One more reason why we always feel so bad just like correlates perfectly to the fact why we're actually attuned to other people so much. We're not just doing that because we want to help other people. We're doing this also because of a self benefit. And it started in childhood because back then we learned only if I focus on that person, I can anticipate what's going to hurt them, what's going to get them upset. And I don't want to get them upset because if I upset them, I'm going to get abandoned. If I upset them, I'm not going to get loved. So we're so accustomed as children, and specifically in our youth, to do and be everything the other person wants us to be, in order for us to be accepted. Because back then we didn't have another choice. We're very sensitive people. And at that moment, it is difficult for us to distinguish between those two. So this sensitivity has a lot of positive like aspects to it. But in order to actually tap into that, we have to be willing and able to to challenge that, to say it's okay if I offend another person. I have another video coming out on Sunday where I talk about actually something very specific, very similar, because then it's like how to put yourself first without feeling guilty. Um, the quintessence of it, you're going to feel guilty. There is no such thing as how can I avoid feeling guilty. The thing that nobody tells you is that you're supposed to feel guilty and be okay with it for a while. Like if you stay in this guilt, and you're say like, okay, I know I feel like this because rationally I know I shouldn't feel guilty, but due to everything I've been conditioning myself so far, I'm just feeling guilty. You shouldn't avoid that. It's not that you should say, oh, this is wrong, I shouldn't feel guilty, and then everything's going to be good. Be okay with feeling guilty, go through with it anyways, and start forgiving yourself for it. Start forgiving yourself and saying, yes, from time to time I'm going to make mistakes, from time to time I'm going to hurt people, and I want other people to accept me with that flaw. Because it's just like a perceived flaw that you're much more judgmental towards yourself than other people. And it doesn't matter how nice the other person is or anything. You're human and you make mistakes, and you will make these mistakes more and more often the more you focus on yourself. And you'll see there will be people who will not be able to handle it at all. And then it is really the point of you to say, well, this is how I am. Please understand it. Please forgive it. But either you can accept me with that flaw, and from time to time I'm going to do something like this, or we just can't be friends. And no matter how nice that person is or how kind they are, well, are you really being kind to yourself if you're not even forgiving yourself for it? And I know, for example, I have one of my best friends is an INFP, and she's so, and one of my other friends is an ISFP. So for the people who don't know so much about the personality types, they're all about their own feelings, and this is not something negative. It's just because you can feel your own emotions so intensely, you can also imagine how other people feel their emotions very intensely. But it happens much more often that they say something or think something or do something and are completely unaware how they may offend somebody because they're just so entrenched in their own emotionality at that moment. And I know that about them, and I don't love them less because of it. So if I'm able to forgive them and to be okay with them having these, let's call them some kind of flaws in their character, which we all do, then you should be okay with that yourself. And you should want people in your surrounding who also are okay with that about you. And you'll see from time to time, the more often you go into your, like, you're focused on yourself more about like how you want to approach things, what you feel like, what makes you happy. And when things like this happen and you're not so afraid of it, you'll see that it will happen much less often, because then you create like a new balance, you create a new, which is based on starting with you, when up until this point it was always focused on that other person. Very often it also happens that because you do that, you have different groups of friends. So when you're with this one friend, you're acting in a particular way, and then with another friend differently. And when they two come together, you will always feel like, oh, I'm going to offend one of them no matter what. Because if I'm completely accustomed to that person and do everything to make that person feel good, then the other person is going to get offended, and the other way around. So the goal is to say, I have to be the way I am. And if there are things about me that just offend other people, then that's for them to decide. I, for example, learned a long time ago that I have some rather extreme tastes in music from time to time, or I used to. And I knew I had this one friend who had very strong opinions about that. And I really made that choice to say, I'm not going to hide it anymore. You don't have to share this taste with me. You don't have to like listen to me with it. Like, you don't have to sit with me and listen to this kind of music, but um, we have to come to an understanding that this is part of me, and you have to accept me, including this aspect of me. Okay. So let me see the comments again, because like I still don't figure out why this is such a problem. Okay, level drone, let's see if you're still there. I know, like you said, you're not here for a long time, so I'm gonna go with your question next. Didn't you have a question? Was I thinking? Oh, okay. I think I just answered it the other below. But if you have another question, go write it down now. I'm gonna otherwise just take on another question. So the next one we have is from a thunderstorm, and he says, "Being an INFJ, I catch people in lies a lot. I also trying to be deceptive. I know they're just trying to downplay or trying to stay out of trouble. Sometimes I question them right into a corner till they can see that the deception doesn't work on me. How can I just say, forget it, and not let it bother me?" So that I don't waste my time on someone that just wants to waste my time. So this is actually a very interesting question, because I hear it often. The only goal out of this is to think about, why am I focused on seeing that they're deceiving me? And the reason for it is because you have the ability to understand people very well, but you're keeping yourself at a level where the only way you can live this out is by focusing on the people around you who are trying to be deceptive. So you're using your gift in order to survive a current situation, or to make a current situation more interesting. I hear this very often also. I think I'll get to another question later that is a little bit connected to that we stay attached to people who are not good to us because they give us a certain kind of emotion. They make our life interesting or whatever it is. So the person that is being deceptive at that moment, they're the only way for you to prove to yourself and to your environment that you have this gift, that this is something that you're good at, that this is something that you see and nobody else sees but you. So your mind will go for the easiest way to do this. And right now it's going for the deceptive person. So the solution in all of this is to create something in your life where you can use this for positive. So for example, let's say you would improve your career, or let's say you would try out and like share your message more. Whatever it is, if you use this gift of yours, because what is that gift? It's not like the gift of, oh, um, I can sense when people are deceptive. Your gift is actually that you understand people's real intentions for your job, and you want to say, now I'm going to actually take on a new challenge in my life where I have to use this power more. I have to actually understand what people want from me and not feel guilty about using it, because there's nothing deceptive about it. You're just like, you understand what, let's say, your new boss really wants, and you're able to convey yourself and your message in such a way that he or she feels understood, that they feel a connection with you. And so you can use your gift for something positive, because once you do that, you create an overall abundance level that is on a much higher scale. So you overall feel much better about your life, you feel better about everything. And then you're not going for that thing right there that could just give you like this little bit. Like sometimes you've heard me talk about, like, those abundance levels, just to get an understanding. So let's say you seeing that that person has some kind of, are deceiving or anything like this, you understand the ulterior motives and that they're trying to play you. Getting involved with that and winning that argument and winning what's going on, that might give you like a bump of 5 points. So from 20 you get to 25. But if you use that gift and you say, I'm going to actually, stop caring about this, and this is not going to be as easy as it sounds. It's not like, oh, I'm going to stop caring about it. Actually, it's the other way around. You start and you take on a challenge that up until this point you thought you didn't have the energy for. But let's say going for a better job, something that's more challenging, somewhere where you feel like, oh, I have to actually stand up more. And in that situation, all those gifts of understanding people are going to be the thing that's going to make you survive on a higher level. So once you're able to do this, you create, more money, more like a better environment, people who respect you more. Your gifts are being appreciated on a much higher level because they're actually helping to improve the situation for other people. You're helping other people get what they want because you understand them, and then you can give it to them. And so you create something positive for yourself and for others. That in itself jumps your abundance level to, let's say, 50. So if your current state is at 50, you're not going to be worried about what's happening here at 25, because you already, like, when you were at 20 it was interesting, but when you're at 50 it just isn't interesting at all. So the goal to get out of that, and I've been in that situation and I know how tempting it is really to say, I have to create something better, because once I create something better, I'm not going to care about this. This is really the solution for all of it. You cannot stop something negative by focusing on that negative thing. So even if you have, I always say, let's say you have 95% of negative things going on in your life and you have 5% positive things. You want more positivity in your life. You do not focus on how those 95% are working so badly. You focus on those 5%, no matter what it is. If it's just like, I have great coffee in the morning. If it is, oh, I love my friends. If it is, I get to spend time with my brother, and this is just really important to me, and this makes me so happy. It might not even be like something so profound that's going to change your life, but focusing on that, you're going to create more of similar things that give you that emotion, and you attract, like, you do it from a completely different standpoint. And then you expand those 5% positivity, they become more, and you create like an abundance level that's much higher, and therefore you just don't care about those 95%, because those 5% that maybe gave you like 5% of abundance, and then like the other thing like was just pulling you down and make like a -4 or whatever. Once you like increase that and you create it, let's say from those 5 points or percent, you made like 25, you're just not going to care about those 4%. You just like, it's just not going to bother. Like it's not going to be interesting enough, because you have to understand, every time we do something that pulls us down, like for example, looking into somebody who's deceiving us, it is because we have a benefit out of it. We always do it because there's a benefit out of it. It might be excitement. It might be that, as I said, you can actually apply your gifts. Like for me, it was, I stayed in martyr situations a lot because there I could actually show my mental toughness. But I used it, as I said, just to keep my head above water. And then I learned, no, I'm going to use this gift to thrive. And so all those situations that I used to engage with, all those people, they're just not an issue anymore. Like, cause it doesn't give me anything. I just have like much better things going on. And it happened naturally. Okay. So you have a lot of questions. How to let go guilt, recognize it, and not feel confused and not feel self-doubt. I said it a little earlier. I don't know if you heard that. I also will have a video on Sunday out on this topic. Don't avoid guilt. Like, guilt will go away once you've been doing this thing over and over again. You see, okay, I still survive, and this is actually the most rational thing for me. But every time you challenge, a status quo of what you thought was okay for you, because you thought, me acting a certain way, that makes me a good person. If I offend people, or if I do something and I, care more about myself, you're going to feel guilty in the beginning. So the next video is going to be how to put yourself first and not feel guilty, but you're going to stop feeling guilty in the long run. Don't try avoid feeling guilty. Be okay with that feeling, because that feeling is just a lie. And you get to decide, like, it is a story in the end, what you're telling yourself, and you get to decide. So be okay with making mistakes. Be okay with feeling guilty. Stay in that rationality. Try to think it through as emotionless as possible and go through the guilt. And once you do that once or twice, you understand on the other side, yeah, this was actually the right choice. I was so caught up in my emotions that I wasn't thinking straight, that I wasn't making great decisions. Like, how often have we been in friendships and romantic situations or anything like this where we felt so bad for the way we're treating the other one, and then once it's all over and we understand, oh my God, why did I ever let this happen? Like, this was not kind toward myself. We're too emotional in that situation. So be okay with the guilt. That's my whole thing. And once you do that once or twice, it's gonna get better, and you're gonna feel like okay. And really remember, what are the rules and expectations you have of yourself in comparison to others? If you're much stricter with yourself than with others, then it's really time to be less strict with you, because you can't push other people to be like, to have your understanding of morality. You can't do that anyways. And you can't say, like, if somebody's not treating me well, then there will be consequences and I will not engage with that person anymore. And it's okay for you to put yourself first, and it's okay sometimes to really fight back or bark back or bite back. And this has been extremely painful for me in the past, but it was necessary, because you do it once, they learn like that they cannot do this with you anymore. And then from that moment on, they will never do that to you again. They will never get you in situations like this. And you will not allow people to come this close to you that are not protecting your boundaries. And the same thing, like, people can make you feel bad for making a mistake, and it can be, and then you can say, oh, I'm sorry, I know this wasn't nice of me, and you apologize, and it's okay. But if that person like keeps on making you feel bad, then this is also a boundary that they're not respecting of yours, that they're using to their advantage, and it's like the guilt tripping. Okay. Okay, level drone, you said, like, I've had family tell me I'm on a different astral plane that seemed rude and disrespectful. Am I being too sensitive? No, it is disrespectful. It is disrespectful, but again, it's your choice. You get to decide, how am I going to react to this? And this is the whole thing. There is no right or wrong. You get to decide, is this okay or not? So I wouldn't want somebody to talk to me this way. And so this is the rule I set for myself. And if I had some, I don't know, let's say I was completely sensitive about what people said about my hair. Like, just imagine. So it might be irrational. It might be like, who cares? But if this was really something I had some kind of problem with, or I didn't find okay, then it's on me to say, like, I'm not going to accept that. Let alone the fact of, let's forget about if it's whatever it is that they have a problem with. It is never okay, from my opinion, how I allow the people in my life, even my family, to talk to me this way. It doesn't matter what it's about, even if it's something that I actually agree with. So let's say I would get fired. Let's say I would have a job and I would get fired because I didn't perform well, or whatever it is. And if my family would tell me, you're such a loser, how could you, like really not in a positive way that makes me feel good, then even if I know that it was my mistake for doing the thing, like, getting myself fired, it's still something I'm not going to accept. And I'm not accepting certain behavior, if no matter, like, now I'm my own boss, but even I wasn't accepting a behavior from bosses, no matter what it was, because there's just certain things I know this is not okay with me, and you can't learn that, but you got to do it like step by step. It really isn't gonna happen right away. um so you weird them out. Well, is it that's what I'm saying. If you weird people out by being yourself, then it's okay for them to understand that you're just weird from their perspective. Like, when I started my channel, this was the first time my friends really, for the first time, really told me, yeah, you're really different. And up until this point, I've been telling them for years. Like, my friends I've known for over 20 years, right? And I always felt like, yeah, I'm different. I know, blah, blah, blah. But the moment I actually stepped out and started talking about the things that mattered to me, they really saw, oh, okay, like, yeah, she's really different. Like, I didn't expect this. So let them see that. If this is what you believe in and it makes them like weirded out, like, be okay with that. Why be liked for something you're not? So if they think that's weird, they can either say, yeah, you're like, I don't understand what you're doing there, but I don't care. Like, I love you, you're part of my family, or like, it doesn't change anything about us. But as long as you feel like, you kind of paddle back, it's kind of like you're telling them, yeah, you're right. I deserve to be um guilt tripped, or to be made feel bad for being who I am. But the more you step into, this is what I believe, and I believe I'm in, like, whatever it is that you believe in. Some people are gonna accept you and find it like differently. They're just not gonna connect with you on that. That's how it is with my friends. Like, my friends don't watch my videos. My friends don't understand what I'm really doing, but they support me, they love me, and we talk about the things we have in common. Then there are people who just are so weirded out, let's call it. They cannot understand, like, my way of living. We don't have any contact. But then there's this part of people who, only because I express myself, only because I speak my truth, connect with me. Because before that, they didn't even know that this was in my mind. So you're actually opening up so much more possibility for authentic connection once you allow for other people to see that. And it's none of your business if people like you or don't like you. That's for them to decide. Like I always say, it really doesn't matter how many people love you and adore you and how many people dislike you or not. It has nothing to do with you anyways. It's just like a mirror to what they believe. So either they see something in you or they project something onto you that they want to have, or want to like see that this is part of them, then there's a connection. Or they see something that they don't allow in themselves, then they project the negative thing onto you. And neither of those things has anything to do with you, because the way you really are, nobody can really get that besides you. No matter how much also you think, oh, I can actually look into other people's minds and stuff, you will never, no one of us will ever be able to really get a glance exactly of that person as they can see themselves. So don't let that stop you. Just let them, like, whatever it is. If you don't like the way you're being talked to, and it doesn't matter if you're too sensitive compared to what, does it make you feel good or not? If it doesn't make you feel good, that's something you shouldn't accept. No matter what, no matter if you're being dramatic or sensitive or whatever it is, it's more about, like, you have to feel at peace and not feel like I have to fight back all the time. Okay. Oh, guys, there's so many questions. Let me just get back to a couple of questions I had before. Remember, I will do this again. As I said, also like maybe even once a week. You gotta let me know how the time is for you. Maybe afterwards I can read it in the comments. Okay, so the Miko 26 asks, and I think this is very interesting for a lot of us. Okay, I feel like I'm being too reckless towards my own future me, if that makes any sense. Meaning postponing stuff in a way that almost seems like I'm able to escape, disconnect from them in a way, doing that, um, which of course only rarely works out, and sometimes even makes things worse than if I would have addressed them. Like in the end, any guidance or insight on that topic would be highly appreciated. So this is not, this is not like an INFJ topic or something like an Enneagram 4 topic or anything like that. This is a human thing. We disconnect from the things we don't want to do. We've seen in all the movies, there's so many people, so many ways to numb ourselves out. Watching TV, drugs, getting love addicted and obsessing over a person, whatever it is, without taking care of ourselves first. And believe it or not, like, remember, I did a survey on Monday on the next videos. And so the next one is going to be, as I said, how to put yourself first and not feel guilty. And the one after that is actually how to take responsibility for your life and your decisions. And it really comes back to that. And it's not like the video itself, and as I say it now, this is not like a motivational thing. This is not like, just do it, you got it, and like, it's so important. Because yeah, this might pump you up, but it pumps you up for like 20 minutes, and then afterwards you're back on track. And it's also not a matter of willpower. It really is just understanding that every time you go through life and you feel like you're neglecting yourself, it doesn't feel good. It never feels good. And I remember how I always felt there's like all this potential of me, and I'm not tapping into that at all. And it is like I was behind like a glass, like just a window, and everything was happening outside of that. And so what I've learned is that the moment like you feel bad because you're not fighting for yourself, you don't feel bad because you're not like where you want to be. The moment I stopped feeling like this, like I stopped feeling like I'm neglecting myself, was the moment I started fighting for myself. And so the beginning of all of that, before there was a channel, when I was just writing my book, or when I said, okay, now I'm going to go actually for the high tier job because I want to fight for myself, I want to improve my life, that is the moment I stopped feeling I'm neglecting myself. This is the moment I stopped feeling I'm wasting my potential. Because as I said, the thing that hurts us the most is that we're not fighting. It's not the result. It's not the great life we create. That happens after that. So when you want to create something for yourself, it's really important that you add to it very, very like on small portions. It has to be something that you can take on for the rest of your life. So I said in the video, just to make it real quick here, if you, for example, want to write a book and you weren't able to write anything in the last 4 months, you can't say, I'm going to write 5 pages a day because I know I should be doing this. It's not going to happen. It's like your mind is not equipped to that, and your willpower will not stand a chance. It might be able to push through for 3 weeks. And I've seen with like some sensor types or some people who actually do it for years, but everybody always crashes in the end because you're fighting against yourself. It really, the way you can sustain it is by saying, okay, what can I do that I know I can do for the rest of my life? And and if you say, okay, it's actually writing 1 sentence a week, and everybody said, what, 1 sentence? What are you going to do with like 1 sentence a week? But it's more about, can you do it? Can you really sit down and commit to this 1 page or this 1 sentence? Because and no matter how long it takes, you're going to be able to do this because you want to be a person who's proud of her or himself. And you're going to do that by saying, I'm going to write that 1 sentence. And once you're able to stick to that for 3 weeks, then you can add something, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the good thing about it is you don't need willpower then. You just change your habits, you change like your identity. And if you do it with small things like this, it gets you out of your comfort zone, but it doesn't overwhelm you. It's something you can manage. And the better in the way, and this improves your life. And the more your life gets improved, the less likely your about to do things that numb you out, like, smoking, binge watching all the time, whatever it is, or like eating. That I used to do a lot of emotional eating. And the better my life is, the less I do that, because I do have more endorphins by myself, by having more pleasure in my life, by creating a life and knowing that I'm taking care of myself. This feels so good that automatically I don't have the urge to get my endorphins in ways that are not beneficial to me. Okay. Mhm. Okay. I have, let me see. Thank you guys. So as I said, I'm sorry I cannot answer everything. It's a lot, but I'll do more of these. Um Hear about like type 9 Enneagram. Like, I haven't actually looked into Enneagram for a long time. It did help me though. Like for me, it was the healthiest thing. Like I'm a 9 and I got really healthy the moment I started putting myself more into, let's say, the spotlight, like the 3 type, that I actually said, okay, I'm going to use my gift, that I'm actually very, that I can be very numbed and chilled out, and that I can take a lot of pain. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm actually going to use that power to push myself forward and use it for good and create abundance and help people and create a better life for myself and others. And since I started doing this, I everything changed. Like it's amazing. So I'm a huge fan of the Enneagram program. I have a poster on that. If you want some insights, I think you can either find them in the Enneagram videos or maybe even below, but I think in the Enneagram videos. By the way, guys, today's the last day for the incentive of the boot camp. I'm really, really excited about the boot camp because this is the first group coaching experience. I had a retreat last year that was really, really nice, and we did such great work. And so I know a lot of people have been writing me that they want to work with me, but the coaching packages are a little bit out of their price range, or a little bit more. And so the group coaching experience is like a great alternative to really approach the things that are going on in your life, because we're going to have, like, it's going to be 6 weeks. We're going to have weekly videos. We're going to have weekly assignments. We're going to have a live stream a week where we're going to specifically talk about what's going on. And it's going to be a small group. So we're really going to talk about like what's going on in your life, how you're handling your relationships there, what is really the thing that's holding you back right now. And the good thing is I'm going to do more boot camps in the future. And once you're enrolled, you have access to all future boot camps. So the incentive ends today. So today is where you get the early bird prize, or if you book one of the coaching packages today, you get free access to the bootcamp as well. So links in the description. You can book next month, no problem. Just then, the best deal is just up till today. Okay. So what do we have here? I didn't know there was a live. Somebody says, "Well, I wrote it here in the community section. I posted it on Instagram, on Facebook, on at least on the stories. And guys, you always get access to this once you're part of my newsletter. So if you get the poster below, you get access to my newsletter. If you I have 3 posters, so whatever it is, one of those, or you sign up to the newsletter right away, you're gonna get all access to everything, to all the incentives, to all the, no matter what I'm doing. So if you want to stay in touch, this is the best way to do that. Dairon, thank you. I love you too. Okay. Thanks, Jose. I read your message. Thank you. I'm glad I can help you. Great. Yeah. Check out the poster 1, 2, 3. And I have some videos. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've watched them if you ask me about it on the Enneagram. Thanks, Kigara. Thanks, usually. Okay. Okay, so before I get to more questions, let me get back to some questions I had before. So Sandeep asked me how to get over Stockholm Syndrome, and I wrote it right away. Like, I'm not equipped to answer that. Like like I say it right now because I want to talk about like what I can talk about in this, but I'm not qualified to go into that. I'm not a psychologist. I am not here to heal trauma. I can help you with everything that I know and everything that I've gone through and everything I experienced and the people I've helped. But there is just specialists for that. But what I can talk about is, I think, the underlying topic of it, which is how to deal with the fact that you actually like somebody who hasn't treated you well in the past. I mean, it actually comes down to emotional abuse, right? You've been in a situation where you've done everything for the other person while that person was abusing you emotionally, was not treating you well. You were trying to be kind, and you got knocked on your on your butt over and over again, and how to deal with getting away from that. And I do have experience from this. Some of you have known my videos for a long time, and in the first videos, I talk about this more specifically, that I was involved with an ENFJ, and it was not a healthy relationship, and it really, I had a reality break. I think like when I was like 26, 27, and I completely lost myself. I pulled myself in a cave, and the only thing I cared about is to make that person understand that I'm a good person. Of course, the reason why this happened, or why I was able to get involved in situations like this, is because I didn't love myself enough to understand that I don't need to prove myself so much. But back then, I didn't understand that, and so I idealized that person like it was just crazy. Like, they wanted to be idealized, I idealized them, and it really gets to a point where I felt I have like this dark soul, and that person is like an angel, not understanding that they keep hitting me emotionally or hurting me, and I just feel like I'm the only one who can help them. I'm the only one who can get them out of that. If I don't help them, who will? So I took responsibility for that. And so, yeah, how do you get out of that? This was probably the most difficult thing I had to go through. Like, no matter who has died in my life, um, relationships that were much more meaningful to me, when they broke off, I was able to handle them better. This was by far the most difficult thing I had to go through. And I'm not ashamed to say that, because it's not because this person was so great. It's because I had such deep problems with loving myself. So the only way I was able to get over that, specifically when you've been so obsessed over this, is to actually create something else that is better, something that gives you more. And definitely to do something where you actually help people. Because why are you so attached to that other person? Why? It's always because you feel like you feel for the other person. You want to see them as, you want to be kind toward that person. And then you learn, I want to be kind in the future as well. I don't want to be somebody who has to be like horrible in order to survive, because this hurts our soul so much. So what we do is to find, okay, I have to first like make that step of putting myself first, because if I want to help people in the long run, I have to make sure that I'm good. And so everybody who doesn't appreciate me being myself, me being all of me, because I with that situation was like, when I was in my strength, that person would get hurt, that person would suffer, because they would see like all that power I have, and they would not like me anymore. So I had to learn to first like allow myself to go all out, to be okay with that person completely abandoning me, completely like not liking me back. Like, all my worst fears had to come true for me to say, okay, I still survived. Like, I felt like all alone, but I'm still here. And so now that I make sure that this never happens again, so my boundaries are set up, I'm going to create something that is a benefit for me and for others. And we can do this in all capacities. You don't have to start like a business. You don't have to start a YouTube channel. When I started this was not supposed to be something I can live off like now. I thought, yeah, maybe in 10, 15 years. I did this because I just needed this for my soul. I needed to have an outlet where I can help people. And you can do this no matter what. You can join organizations. You can help out and volunteer. You can use your gifts. Like, even if your gifts are something like, let's say you're really good accountant. Just an example. I mean, most of us are not like these kind of types, but just imagine for this example. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna say, how can I use this in order to help create something good? So you will start working at an organization which has great values, or where the thing that they're working on is something that you believe in. And that's how you create a better life for yourself. And as I said in the beginning, you start creating more abundance for yourself on such a level that this thing, looking at what that person is doing over here, just won't satisfy you anymore. It just, like, because the new thing is just better, and that's the only way I have learned to really get out of it and over it. So these are my 2 cents on that. Okay, Leo asks, how can I best support a close friend during a rough breakup? Why are we talking about this? Like, I'm not shaming you, Leo. This is not the problem. I understand where this is coming from, and I'm somebody who gets way too involved in my friends' breakup. So I know what this means. But in the end, why are we really fixated on that? We're fixated on that, first off, because we want to help, because we are somebody who know probably how to help them and what they could do in order for them to get out. And also because we feel so deeply with them. So what they're going through, we feel, maybe because we've gone through something similar, or just because we are so connected to what they feel. But the best way to really help them is you can tell them once what you believe, and if they're not listening and they don't want to like do what you think is the best thing, really it is for you to start focusing on your life and be a good example of what it means to love yourself, to do what is right for you, to create a better life for yourself, because we learn more from what we see than what people tell us. So if you're neglecting of putting yourself first and creating something better for yourself, while being there for your friend, and you tell them, I'm there for you, I'm there for you, but you're neglecting yourself, they're not going to feel like that. They might feel like I'm not alone, but what you're showing them is, I don't put myself first, so why should you put yourself first? You're teaching them not to put themselves first when this is exactly what they need at that moment. When they're going through a rough breakup, the best thing for them is to start focusing on them. And the best way for you to make them feel like this is not for you to focus on them, not to such an extent that you're neglecting yourself. Because as I said, we learn more from what we see than what we're being told. And what they see is, it's okay to neglect yourself. It's okay to think about others first before you think about yourself. So no matter how much you help them, make sure that you're the one who doesn't neglect your life, who's going for something that improves your life and, the things around you, and you will see what a great inspiration it will be for them to do something on their terms. Like, for some, like maybe something completely different, but something that they care about, because they see that that their friend also does the thing that they care about. And because they do that, because I care about what is important to me, I have so much more energy to help my friend and push him more. But I make sure I keep my distance from that, to make sure that it doesn't like pull me down with them, because it just won't help anybody. And you might feel guilty in the beginning. As I said, watch my next 2 videos. These are going to be really great on that topic. But you'll see it will be great in the long run. Okay. Thank you, WPSC. Okay, good. I have one more question, and then I think we're pretty much done for today. So if you have any last questions, maybe drop them now below. Okay, Maria, this is from Instagram. She asked, how can I put out more energy more often and be more assertive and handle haters? So this is just the energy part is more of how much energy you have. So I'm a person, I don't have that much energy to give to begin with. I'm a person, I'm more of an observant person. Most of us have a rather laid back. We're more of introverts. And you might think oh, Wenzes, she can talk so much and blah, but it's a lot of practice, and it's a lot of downtime, and it's a lot of taking care of myself. So once I accept that most of my energy I'm always going to use for attracting good things towards me, while I'm actually being calm and I'm being more of the observer. And let's say it's always going to be for me that I'm more introverted, or not saying that much, and not assertive, at let's say 60-40, just as an example. I don't believe that this is gonna change much over time. You can change it, but it will always be out of force. Every time you get back to your natural state, you'll always fall back into the 60-40 thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But how you can improve that is to like rise your overall energy level. Because if your overall energy level is, let's say, at 20, then you're gonna have, if we have like 60-40 rule, then you're going to have, let's say, 12 energy points are more the relaxed side of you, and 8 points you're going to have to be assertive. So, but once you get like you grow those 20 points to, let's say, 70. Okay, my math is like running out now, but let's say you double that, then you're going to have 16 points, or you double that, you're going to have 32 points. And so the people who are all together, even if they put all their energy into their extroverted side, if they all have altogether 26 and you have 20, and they have 26 like towards you and you have 8, you're gonna have a problem. But if you like double it and double it, then you're gonna have 32 points, and 32 points are just going to be your assertive side, your extroverted side, the side that can bring out energy. And towards that 26, that hater that had 26, you're not going to get like overwhelmed by this. You're still going to stay your ground, because this is what happens if you come across somebody who has more energy than you, and more extroverted energy than you can actually take. It's like you either shy away from that, or you like it just you just lose a sense of self, like you lose your self-confidence in that moment, and so on. So once I understood this, I knew first off to keep my distance from haters altogether. So there are a lot of, when I get like negative comments, it it really has to be something that is really constructive for me to actually even get into, for me to get even to answer. And because most of the time I either delete them or ignore them, because every time I have to read through something that obviously is negative and meant to be a hateful comment, every time I have to think about, am I going to react to this, or am I not? How am I going to react to this so this is not considered weak, but at the same time not considered like you can like I want to like just lash out, and I want to stay that. This takes energy out of me, and I don't want to spend my energy on that, because my energy is limited, our energy is limited. So I want to use my energy to talk to people who actually want to hear from me, who actually want to experience good things from me. I like the people who like me back. So I'm very careful to protect that. And at the same time, so I'm willing to take the risk of somebody actually having like a constructive criticism that's going to help me in the long run. I'm willing to take the risk of maybe setting too strict boundaries and missing that. Um, then to say, well, I don't want to miss anything. Maybe it's just something constructive that will help me. But therefore, I also allow like 10 others to come in, which just like are there to put their negativity on me. So this is something I do. I really keep my boundaries very wide. Like as I said, I try to like keep people at a distance. They have to prove themselves in order to be allowed in my space. And at the same time, I keep doing things that make me improve my energy level. So, for example, the moment I quit my job, I wasn't surrounded by a lot of people that pulled me down. I the people like my boyfriend, that's a really positive impact on me. So a lot of people that I used to hang out with before, I don't hang around people like this anymore. So I make it a point to improve my life every time, and to stay consistent with different things. That's why the 5 pillars are so great, because you can look at all the aspects, and the more you improve your family relationships, your friends, like the relationship with your friends, that you make sure that you do have the positive connections, that you stay on top of that, that you challenge yourself to prioritize those things, that you set great boundaries with your work colleagues, that you make sure that your financial situation is intact, that it doesn't pull you down because it worries you. Like to make sure to do that all together, starting with one point, but then really adding more things. What happens is you just create overall more abundance, and then you naturally have more energy than the people who are the most hateful, because the people who do have are the most hateful ones are always the ones who do not have that much energy. They might have more energy than you when you've been like neglecting yourself and pulling yourself down, but the higher you get, this you see that people are more and more positive, because you automatically, when you grow your abundance level and you do this out of a thing of, we create better for everybody. This is not like, if I have more you have less. You get into this world and you see that the people around you reflect that back to you. Like the people in my life really are most like, I don't know anybody who's like really a toxic person in my life. And I know there are people who make so much money and they have so much success and all of that, and they're full of toxicity there. So it's not that this doesn't exist, it just doesn't exist in my life. And if you focus on creating more and more abundance in your life, like those haters just like fall off more and more, because like you get to a level where there's so much going well in your life, you've created such great things, that there is just not space for this. You automatically get more and more connected with people who are also creating more abundance in their life and the life of others. And it's just like a positive ripple effect. So this is my thing, like guide your energy level and improve it all together, because you're always going to be somebody who's more laid back and wants to be somebody who's more taken care of, in a way of that I don't want to be the one who always sets the tone. When I'm with my friends, I'm always the one who's like, more of the relaxed one, and I let my friends decide where we're gonna go and how we're gonna do that, and I just make sure that I put my like what's important to me, like in, and I make it a point when it matters more to me. But I'm so grateful every time I get to relax and I get to say, okay, now I trust you. You're my friends. I know you mean like want the best for me, so you decide and you take control of the situation now. Like when I can do this, I still enjoy it, I still love it, and I don't think that that's something we have to change. Just like use the energy that you do have on the specific things that pull you up, instead of focusing on how to get those haters off. So rather set two strict rules than two weak ones. Okay, let me see if I can. So if I missed something, don't don't be too mad about it. As I said, what do you think about doing this like once a week? We could do this once a week. I don't know. I like the time right now because it's not too late for me and I still have a lot of energy. So let's think about that. Okay, Kigara says, I'm between I really want to and don't, because I'm afraid of these conflicts will get us nowhere, if you know what I mean. No, hold on. What is it? I'm an IJ, I'm 22 years old. My father's he wants me to work with him when I finish study. Okay. So Kigara is worried about working with her father, because they just like might, on the one hand she wants to, but then on the other hand she doesn't want to, because she's afraid of all the conflicts they will have. I wouldn't want to work with my father. We create, we can have great relationships now, but we can only have that because we have a certain kind of distance. Like at some point, if you're like too different of personalities, it's, you create the best relationships when you have some distance there. I don't know about your relationship. I don't know how it makes you feel. But I don't like, if I know from the beginning a certain situation is going to cause me conflict, the only way why I'm willing to go for that is if it's something that improves my situation to what I have right now. So let's say when I had my job, not my last one, which was, my last job was a really top tier consulting agency in banking in Europe, like very high up. And the one before was like more like a middle thing. So I knew going up that ladder, it would be harder for me to find my place. People would be much more, would be much stronger. They would be very smart. They would be more convinced of their way is the right way. And when I was more in the state below, I could do much more what I wanted because I was the derivatives expert. So there was nobody who could do what I could do. So I had all the freedom. And I knew going up, I wouldn't have that freedom and I would have more conflict. But I was still willing to do that step because I gained so much from it. I learned so much from it. I knew once I go there, I will learn self-discipline. I will learn how to fight for myself. I will get a lot stronger through that. Let's not forget about, all the money that came into that, and, my Hilton diamond points and status that allowed me to travel the world and so on. So I knew that the new situation was going to be better than the last one, because the last one had run its course. There was no way of me to grow. So if you're in a situation and you feel like the only alternative that you can think about that would improve your life right now would be to work with somebody which has like some potential for conflict, but it will definitely improve your situation to what you have right now, great. But when you get to that point, when you have enough strength, find like the next thing that improves your life even better. And you'll get at some point that you understand it's not always more abundance, more conflict, more abundance, more conflict. This is really a thing of self-limiting beliefs, that at some point you say, I'm willing to actually start removing those conflicts. Because it's scary, because this is what we're used to. But then to say, I'm going to focus on something that is actually easier, what I can grow, but there's more harmony around me. Okay, I think that's it for today. I really want to keep those to an hour. Remember, guys, the boot camp. Somehow, like I know, like I don't know, like 5-6 people have signed up so far. But we have 1 month to go, and it's gonna be great. Like this is really the thing that I think is going to be the biggest product I will develop, because I'll have the coaching, but coaching, I will always have it as a higher price, because I just cannot take on so many, because it is intense, and we get really deep there. So if you say like, I'm not there yet, I'm not able to make that kind of commitment, just look at the bootcamp. Like the incentive this month is the best thing you're going to get. There are payment plans. And if you do decide to do coaching, you get the bootcamp for free if you sign up in January. So this is really just a couple more hours. I will do it until 12 p.m. PST, so Los Angeles time. So yeah, maybe like 1 or 2 hours after that, because I won't be able to get the website changed so quickly, but normally like just until today. I thank you very much for tuning in. And I'm thankful for your support in this channel. If you haven't subscribed, guys, because like I have just like, I don't know, 150, 175 left to 10,000 subscribers. And for a channel like mine, I'm not this entertainment channel. So I'm very specific. And so I knew that my channel is going to grow rather slowly, but even I, have reached 10,000 almost, and I'm so excited about it. And I see like the ripple effect gets bigger and bigger. And this is a movement. And we're doing this to create like a better life for all of us. So I'm glad you're part of it, and I wish you an amazing weekend. Let me know, write me or below if you want to have another one like this, but I think I'll try to do one next week, and we're going to see how that goes. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.